I received a comment on my video about Murder Drones Episode 8 that helped me engage in one of my new favorite hobbies, exercising brain cells using Murder Drones characters as weights. Seriously though, this comment really made me think about Jay's story and character, and how kinda tragic they are. I'm not saying that to mean she's a terrible character who shouldn't have existed and contributed nothing to the show's narrative. No, Jay has always been one of Murder Drones' most fascinating characters to me, second only to Doll, and Episode 8 went a long way to add on to her character, have her explain some of her motivations and such, why she did what she did, why she didn't switch sides during Episode 8's events, and what might be in store for her in the future given what we saw in that episode's credits sequence. Obviously, I'll be getting into tons and tons of spoilers in this video, so if you haven't seen any of Murder Drones, the entire series, go watch that first before continuing with this. To sum up Jay's personality, she started off in the pilot episode as an arrogant and selfish workaholic who used corpo speak as insults and loved branded pens. She's overconfident to the point of monologuing instead of finishing off Uzi, allowing Uzi to stab her with her own tail and gain the upper hand, ultimately killing her. She used N as a punching bag, implanting a virus in him to kill him after he questioned JC Jensen's orders. She didn't change much as a person after episode 1, if at all. Basically, she started off as an asshole and ended up as that same asshole, more or less. Unless you count the Absolute Solver transforming her into a monstrosity in episode 2. I don't, because Eldritch J wasn't actually J, it was a manifestation of the Solver. Jay getting only a few moments of screen time per episode, save for episode 4 where she did not appear at all, was not conducive to any major character development. The show's quick pacing didn't allow her much room to breathe, and having a ton of development dropped on her right at the very end would have been somewhat awkward. Needed, you could argue, but awkward. Her lack of screen time was notable enough to be a fandom meme. Though, despite her being underutilized, she remained likable enough for me to keep being a fan of her. Sometimes an asshole is likable because they're an asshole. And you gotta keep in mind, Jay was not one of the show's main characters, just a major support. Even then, there were a few points where she broke away from her regular personality. Episode 5 had the most prominent examples of that, though that was a past version of her, before she became a disassembly drone. Still, it showed she had a softer side to her. She was close friends with Tessa and was on good enough terms with N to not want to kill him every 5 seconds. Okay, I suppose she didn't want to kill him in episode 6, but that aside, she fought against the Solver-possessed V to let N and Crozy go to Elliot Manor's spooky basement, only for the episode to cut to this dude, Lord Frumtelbucket, yes, that's actually his name, and not show the rest of that fight. That was a missed opportunity. Regardless, she herself got possessed by the Solver through Sin, aiding in the Gala massacre and possibly killing Tessa, something not confirmed on screen, not even implied as far as I'm aware. Sin later took Tessa's corpse, her skin, and started wearing parts of it, then grabbed a spacesuit to pretend to be Tessa. I made a big deal in my video about episode 8 regarding Jay not caring about that. You'd think, given her and Tessa being close friends, arguably best friends, she'd be pissed off at Sin and the Absolute Solver for either murdering Tessa outright or having her murdered through someone like, as I mentioned moments ago, Jay herself, becoming angry enough to switch sides, to team up with N, Uzi, and V to defeat Sin, to redeem herself. Maybe not sacrifice herself or die during the fight, but still, the setup was there for a redemption arc. Episode 5 established that Jay hated Sin enough to lock her up in Elliot Manor's basement regularly. Episode 6 showed Jay being a little disconcerted from Tessa, Sin, telling her to mind my ship, as if she thought to herself in that moment, that's not like Tessa. While I'm at it, I might as well mention the setup for a fight between Jay and Khan, Lizzie, and Thad at the end of episode 7, but that didn't happen. Her redemption arc never happened. We never got more moments like the mind my ship bit. She stayed loyal to Sin and the Absolute Solver this whole time. She remained antagonistic through the end. Yet she had a couple of lines in episode 8 implying she didn't like working for Sin and the Solver.
If I promised you anything, you tricked me too. You know there's no escape, even in death!
Because if she dies, the Absolute Solver will resurrect her in one of two ways. Either the Solver transforms her into a giant monstrosity to help reassemble her body as seen in episode 2, or it'll make a clone of her, copy her memories and consciousness into a new body and send her on her way, as seen in episode 3. For all the gags surrounding Jay dying and coming back to life so many times throughout the show, the reality for her is, she can't die. She can't even rebel against the Solver, against Sin, like N and V did. Not to mention, she didn't get the same treatment they did. Uzi becoming her admin, her memories restored. Even if she had all her memories, what are they going to do for her? For all her protestations about being on the winning team in episode 8, really she's admitting that she lives an exceptionally messed up life, and she believes there's no escape from it, not even in death. That when she, N, and V were all on the same team, at least she could share that messed up life with others. She's a disassembly drone. She's one of the Solver's pawns. She's well aware of that, and she can do nothing about it. She's afraid of what will happen to her should she disobey. So, she accepts it and moves on. Does her job so the Solver will leave her alone. That's the only peace she has. That's really the meat of her tragedy. That, combined with losing Tessa and arguably not having enough screen time to really hammer these ideas home. It makes you wonder what her real tragedy was. Her resigning herself to being little more than a tool, or all the missed opportunities surrounding her. Again, I realize she wasn't one of the show's main characters, just a major support. Maybe the show couldn't have squeezed in a Jay redemption arc without seriously altering the main character's stories. It's why I said that having a bunch of character development dropped on her at the end would have been awkward. But I still think there could have been more done with her while keeping her in a supporting role. Jay's final on-screen moment in episode 8, credits notwithstanding, is her getting knocked out during the big fight against Sin at the end and falling into a pit. That's it. She's not mentioned by anyone after this. It's like everyone forgot she existed. However, after Sin's defeat and Uzi's merge with the Solver, Jay is free, right? Free to do whatever she wants without consequence, yeah? During episode 8's credits sequence, we saw her, having survived the big fight, rebuilding a landing pod. What is she going to do with that? Use it to leave Copper 9 since she lost her job because some freaky deakies happened to her boss? If so, where is she going to go? Earth doesn't exist anymore. Same for the Elliott Manor. What about JC Jensen's other planets? Maybe she wants to go to one of those, but who knows what she'll find there or why she would do that. Or maybe she wants to fly around Copper 9 to find more disassembly drones, form a new team, and resume killing worker drones. In any case, I don't want to lose much sleep thinking about what could have and should have been. Saying that begs the question, how satisfied am I with Jay as she was handled in the show? Clearly nowhere close to 100% considering this video and the comments within it exist. However, there's a part of me who wants to disregard all of that, throw all those comments into the nearest garbage bin, and simply think of Jay as a fun character who had a few cool moments here and there. Nothing more. Don't even think about the could'ves and the should'ves like I mentioned. Just roll with the show as it is. Enjoy who Jay was instead of who she could have been. But I can't. Not fully. This video exists to showcase my thoughts and opinions on Jay, a quick and dirty character analysis. And the truth is, I can see things both ways simultaneously. Jay was still a fun character despite her lack of screen time. It was neat to see her in the pilot, rambling about loving branded pens and whatnot. It was fun to see her doing her thing in episode 5, considered the weakest episode of the show by many Murder Drones fans, myself included. And it was fun to see her bicker with V during their big fight in episode 8. She may live a screwed up existence, and she deserved more screen time than she got, but as the saying goes, every character is someone's favorite. I know Jay has plenty of fans who consider her their favorite Murder Drones character. While I don't consider myself a huge fan of her, I still like Jay enough to say that I wanted more of her, much more than what we got. I may not lose sleep over Jay and the missed opportunities surrounding her, but I might think about her every now and again and say to myself, what if? What do you think? Drop a comment if you want to share some of your thoughts on Jay, and get subscribed because I might be making more videos like this for other Murder Drones characters. Also, ring that bell and set it to all instead of personalized so YouTube can let you know I uploaded a thing and a half about, I don't know, $1 or somebody like that. Better yet, you can join my Discord server and get notified there each time I upload. If you enjoyed this, please consider supporting me on Patreon and Ko-fi if you want to help me make more videos like this. Links to all of that will be in the description. Thank you for watching, take care of yourselves, and how is Jay the only person in this show who knows how to use an EMP blast?